Boom. Okay guys, hello, and welcome. Today we will, gonna be reading Distortion Detective, and for desktop audio, like, being empty would sound kind of weird, so I put, I have Limbus Company open in the background, and hope that's fine. Anyways, well, this is unusual, so I'm not too sure if we're gonna be doing it for the full 3 hours here, because, can't say I've ever read for 3 hours straight before, but sure. In any case, so here we go. I can see the distortion, and the distortion can occur to anyone. I don't exactly know who coined the term distortion for the phenomenon, but people just started calling it that at some point. No one knows how it works. but the experience so far suggests that this phenomenon is a manifestation of strong emotional desires and explosive surges of feelings. The pianist who, or rather which wreaked havoc on District 9, is known as one of the most notable cases of the distortion. Not many are aware that smaller there's gonna be many mistakes here, I can already tell. Not many are aware that smaller cases of the distortion are happening here and there across the city even now. A person turning into a fish and another one's eye being dyed with the hues of the sky are two such examples. The distortion appears to me as visual distortions in a literal sense. Although I can see them, they aren't tangible. In the case of the person whose upper body gradually turned into that of a fish, I could clearly observe scales growing on their body, yet when I touched their skin, I could only feel the soft sensation of a normal human skin. Hearing this much, one might think the distortion is merely an illusion. Well, that would mean I'm simply delusional and suffering from hallucinations. However, I've taken up this job because that is not the case. I am chasing after the distortion. It's secretive yet explicit, and it proceeds slowly. For example, the fish person I mentioned earlier, who was dubbed the merfolk, underwent gradual changes such as having their eyes protrude, gills appear, and scales grow out of their skin. When their upper body almost completely morphed into the form of a fish, the change physically manifested in a moment's notice, and only then could others see what had become of the merfolk, and physically feel the fishy features of their body. The merfolk, case number 5, was originally a villager in District 19's fishing hamlet who was subject to constant abuse. It seemed that they spent most of their time staring into the Great Lake, yearning to escape from their current life. My conclusion is that they desired to be freed from their agonies and saw the lake as a getaway, and that strong longing for water ultimately distorted them into the merfolk. Of course, there are many other complicated factors involved, but I'll omit the details since the merfolk is not the main subject of my story. Yeah. Merfolk, eh? So they were on the lake. I wonder if some of them are... I wonder if one of them are actually whales or whatever. Who knows? My work is to look out for cases of the distortion and prevent them. In fact, the progress of the distortion varies for each person. Ever since I gained this ability to see omens of the distortion with my eyes, I cannot see a single person who is not distorted in one way or another. Once again, I don't have a deeper understanding of the phenomenon or anything. I simply started seeing it one day. I could notice it earlier than others. Since I can see the signs in advance, I do my best to warn people to take preventative measures before it manifests. That is my job. I was hired by a firm that had lost several of its staff to the so-called Ascension incident, and sought out employees whose eyes were filled with the sky's color. The firm advised them to wear sunglasses. The idea to give them sunglasses so that they couldn't keep the scenery of the sky in their eyes was so outlandish it made me chuckle. The sky no longer being blue for them didn't have much positive impact on their boring lives, but at least it didn't evaporate anymore. The people who used to look up at the sky started looking down instead. Perhaps they still wanted to get closer to the sky by going up to the rooftop. Maybe they were just one of the many who chose to jump to death. The city isn't too interested in what happened after a case has been solved. All they need to know is if the deaths were understandable or not. I'm not a charity worker, so I don't bother looking into cases of the distortion I wasn't asked to investigate either. Case number 13, Balloon People. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I can go for 3 hours, but whatever, sure. This case was rather explosive. I titled this case Balloon People because people's heads quite literally expanded like balloons until they went pop. This cold explosion would cover everything within a 10-meter radius with blood and blow to pieces everyone in its range as well. A company No Corpse Nest finally asked for my help after suffering 5 instances of those balloon people. After some investigation, I found out that all occurrences of this distortion had one thing in common. They all worked in the service industry. To interpret a distortion, you need to combine multiple pieces of evidence. This process consists of 4 steps: cause, explanation, understanding, and acknowledgement. First, investigate the possible causes of the distortion, and construct a clear explanation that covers the causal relationship in a convincing manner. Then make the subject understand why they are going through the distortion, and have them acknowledge that they could fully distort at this rate. If all of these steps succeed, the case is closed. The distortion is considered solved if the subject regresses to a form that looks human enough to me. Those who became the balloon people used to work in emotionally intense fields such as delivery carriers, nurses, and call center clerks. Particularly, call center clerks had the largest average explosion radius of 16 meters. Some inquiries revealed that another company had subcontracted all customer service calls to one call center. The clerk's job was to record the claims from clients and send those records to that company. The problem lay in this process. The call center clerks lacked any expertise in the subject of those complaints, yet they had to endure heaps of insults from their clients, even though there was no use lashing out at them. The clerks were treated like emotional garbage cans, hearing all kinds of abusive language and even threats from clients. Service workers are compelled to put on a smile and a cheery voice while being a punching bag for others, having no way to vent out their own distress. Such stress would naturally accumulate over time. This resulted in their heads inflating like balloons. All the while they maintained a facade of serenity, they'd end up exploding once their stress reached a breaking point. From that point, my work is simple. I made a list of clerks whose heads appeared inflated to me and sent that to the company. Those clerks then lost their jobs. The company didn't bother investing any time or effort into shrinking their heads. My work often ends before I can enter the stages of understanding and acknowledgement. Simply interpreting the distortion doesn't resolve the fundamental issue. Their stress is bound to explode in one way or another. However, such matters didn't concern my clients much. All they cared about was maintaining this abnormal status quo and evading responsibility for the distortion, not the cause behind it. I suppose the same can be said of me. I can't help but keep thinking that we are all missing something important. I believe I'll be chasing after this distortion for a while, as every single thing appears distorted to my eyes. Right now, I am looking into a mirror. To my eyes, I'm the only one who doesn't appear distorted, in a world full of distorted people. Could the one person who remains unchanged be the distorted one? As I look at all the distorted people, the distorted streets, and the distorted city, I come to think that maybe the world is distorted. The whole world is distorted, I can't fathom what would happen once the distortion of this world continues and reaches a critical point. Until then, I'll stay ever vigilant for the distortion. I am the Distortion Detective. Oh, that was chapter 1. We have, Oh, that was only 13 minutes as well, wow. Yeah, whales are actually from the outskirts, right? So they are distortions, But, you know, some merfolk are... I think some of the merfolk are, might have been. But I thought they were created by whales. Well, who knows? I'm gonna say this now, though. I'm not too sure I'm gonna do voices, because no heckin' way, man. Way too many. Maybe I'll do one a bit higher. But I'm gonna be the main one, so it's just easier to do. And if I have to do something like this for a long period of time, my voice is gonna actually die. Like, yeah, whatever. You idiot. I quietly murmured. Oh, you idiot. I quietly murmured, grinding my teeth. Ezra had done it again. I told her numerous times not to ask sensitive questions to the subjects of the distortion. Ezra then whispered to me, Detective, what do we do? Oh, crap, There's another, Sorry, Chief. My niece isn't very streetwise yet, you see. Oh, you lovely young sprout. What do you mean, Miss Detective? Are you seeing stuff again? Poor little thing. So you were just a couple of nutjobs. If you disrupt my business with bollocks again, I'm gonna call security. The master chef yelled. Although this restaurant was too small and shabby for such luxurious titles. Okay. Recurring characters, we're gonna have, like, recurring characters, so I'm guessing Ezra's a recurring character, so we're gonna give this or whatever, right? Well, every one of them, I'm just gonna do normal. The master chef yelled, although this restaurant was too small and shabby for such luxurious titles. Hey, Fox. Hey, man. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, I thought I was gonna read, so... Yep. My voice is gonna probably die, though. So I'm not too sure about the 3-hour mark. Yes, I'll teach my little gal here to behave. Are you insane? Did you really have to say that out loud? Wow, the food here is just as disgusting as the sanitation. Who taught you to cook? In a small restaurant that's not seeing too many guests. Wait. Man, I can't tell who's talking, but... Yeah, well, whatever.
But it really did taste horrible.
You think we're here to enjoy the food. You're supposed to carefully look around for clues. Just cram the food in your mouth before the chef finds us suspicious. This food has got to be the cause of the disappearance. I bet the revolting taste drove them crazy and made them wander off. Oh wait, no. Oh, wrong one. Motivation is easier to tell.
This food has got to be the cause of the disappearance. I bet the revolting taste drove them crazy and made them wander off.
I'm cutting your salary.
What?
By 25%.
Detective, please.
I took a pipe out of my inner coat pocket. The case may be stuck for the moment, but it should end well somehow. With such optimism. I started smoking. Now I'm a fixer from District 14. A decently experienced grade 5 currently working for 7. The association specializing in intelligence and investigation operations. I solve mysteries for a living. So most of these clues unsolved. Cases are about the Distortion anyway. The city still seems to be mostly clueless about the Distortion. I simply jumped into this budding niche earlier than others thanks to my cursed talent. Seeing people's distortions.
So, what did the chef look like to you, Detective?
The lower half of their body was that of a snake, and hands were attached on its tail. It had about 7 tails if I remember correctly.
What about the upper body? Was it human?
Yep. I could see a human in a filthy chef. Yep, I could see a human in a filthy chef's uniform.
Does that mean the distortion has progressed by about half? Maybe it'll manifest in a week or so.
It could very well happen tonight, judging from the circumstances. The mouse on one of the tails was salivating and twitching quite intensely.
Anyway, we're dealing with a reptilian, right? Let's see. A Stigma workshop product could work.
You always pick expensive gadgets. The pattern of the distortion has been changing lately. The manifestations are getting faster. No, to be precise, the distortion has started to manifest even while people are unconscious. That's right, their bodies distort in their sleep. This seems to happen with the people who are half distorted from what I can see. A sloppy monster can only cause sloppy trouble. This way association gave my office a request. People have been disappearing at night inside a certain hotel in the area the association has been safeguarding. Recording was forbidden in the back streets of District 14, so there's no video footage available. The hotel only has 2 entrances, the main gate and the back door through the kitchen. None of the missing guests were seen leaving through the main gate. The hotel wasn't assaulted by a syndicate either, which was obvious considering that this way were in charge of that area.
Detective, maybe something's really up with the kitchen.
Its chef was the most distorted person around, so it's plausible. The sun sets and night falls. We infiltrated the hotel restaurant. The ferry. I spent a fortune on entering the keyhole and opened the door for us. Sometimes singularities feel much more like monsters than the half-baked creatures born from the distortion.
Wow, are they having a party or something?
What are they eating? Definitely gonna have to drink a lot of water. Oy, oy, oy. Under a red light. Under a red light. Skinless husks of... No. Under a red light, skinless hunks of flesh were sitting around the table, eating something. The only dish on the table was something that looked like a large leather sack. They each grabbed something from the sack and ate it. The putrid smell stinks my nose. My mind falters for a moment. Turn around. Do not look at the thing they're eating. Don't breathe.
This is driving me mad, Detective. But it looks so cozy in there. It looks like a bedroll.
You'll be eaten and turned to manure once you get into that bedroll. Ezra was completely entranced. I smacked her in the chest as quietly as I could. I gave Ezra a handkerchief so she could cover her nose. Keep it tight, we're heading to the kitchen now. Leaving behind the feast, we crawled towards the kitchen. A long line of people waited in front of it. Those were the people who reported to be missing. They enter the kitchen one by one, and then human-shaped flesh hunks walk out, each carrying a leather sack. They bring it to their table and eat from it. The food that bewitches people, huh?
What could they be eating, Detective?
It's time to find out. Get ready, assistant. Ezra took a Stigma workshop sword out of her bag. I pulled out my smoking pipe. The door leading to the kitchen is wide open. People lining up their sack pay no attention to us. They're simply mumbling to themselves. We proceed slowly. We're going in. I can hear the sound of kitchenware at work. The chef is busy cooking something, holding multiple cooking utensils with a hand that are on their tails. What could they be cooking? What are they feeding those people with?
Detective, people are bowing to the chef to show their heads. The chef is splitting them open and taking something out. It doesn't look like a brain.
They aren't extracting the brain itself. They're pulling something out of it. Could it be thoughts?
How is that possible?
That's what the distortion is all about. Unseeable things are materialized.
That means they're giving away their thoughts to the chef, so the chef can cook them and...
The chef also peels their skin to use as a sack. That's pretty wicked. My eyes met the chef's gaze. Hey, you're the insane bunch I saw earlier today. If you want to eat, then line up. The taste's gonna be nothing like the stuff you ate before. What are you feeding these people? How about this?
I'm giving them what they want. I cook thoughts. People these days don't even know what they're thinking, so they need someone else to cook those thoughts up and feed them.
You've already killed people. A case of the distortion that is capable of murder would be, according to the standards our office set up, a risk level 3 distortion. Kill. No, kill. They aren't dead. They're having a feast, don't you see? Ordinary food isn't enough to make people happy anymore. You gotta know who you are and what kind of world you're living in to truly savor the flavor. This is almost like a cheap urban myth. You've gone too far.
Detective, the fleshy things in the restaurant all came in here. You just haven't tried it yet. I'll show you how your thoughts taste.
Ezra takes them down. The Stigma Workshop sword emits an orange glow. The wire on its blade heats up. Each time Ezra swings the sword, one of the hunks of flesh falls to the floor. The heated wire leaves beautiful symbols through the sections it slices, a trademark feature of Stigma Workshop's products. The smell of burnt meat soon fills the kitchen. A sentient case of the distortion that willingly harms others is ultimately subjected to termination. We sometimes encounter distortions that we can't take down on our own, but most of them can still be dealt with in some manner. This kind is especially simple. Have you tried your own cooking then? Self-contradiction, distortions that damage others while claiming to care for them are bound to face irony. So you're feeding others with a dish you haven't even tried yourself. What makes you so confident in its taste?
My cooking has to be tasty. All the customers look sad and sulky even when I serve them with the most delicious food before. It's because they didn't think for themselves. You can tell if the food is tasty just from a person's face. Someone who doesn't try their own cooking isn't a real chef. Fine, I'll eat it. I'll eat my own food. There we go. That's the spirit of a true chef. Chefs split open their own head. They put their hand into the brain and pulled out something glowy. As soon as the chef was done taking out all the thoughts out, they collapsed onto the floor. Just like that, the chef passed away before they could taste their own thoughts. Detective, I took care of them all.
I'm done with my share too.
Should we contact the Way Association now?
Yeah, just write up a short report. They won't believe all this fuss about cooking thoughts anyways. I'll go get some sleep first.
Got it.
Good morning, Detective. Hey, fun fact, you know Ham Pan Pan is actually an actual restaurant in Korea. Just a fun fact, no?
Dear, how about this here, Good morning, Detective Moses. You're a bit later than usual today, huh?
Oh, yeah. The line at Ham Pan Pan was long today. Guess everyone wants to check it out since it's the first opening in the north of the city.
Oh, Ham Pan Pan. Did you get some for me too?
Yeah, got one for you just in case. You like mustard, right? Wait. I can't tell. Wait, is this Ezra? I can't tell, man. I can't tell who's talking. Gosh darn it. Okay, we're gonna try this again, because I feel like...
Good morning, Detective Moses. You're a bit later than usual today, huh?
Yeah. That line at Ham Pan Pan was long today. Guess everyone wants to check it out, since it's the first to open in the north of the city.
Oh, Ham Pan Pan. Did you get some for me too?
Yeah, I got one for you just in case. You like mustard, right?
Mustard's flavor is great. This boy sent us a reward just now.
That quick. It only took them a day. I really scamped the paperwork.
Anyway, to sum up this case, it was about an unappreciated cook who wanted to bring joy to the people in their own twisted way.
It was a crude story. We've had to deal with a distortion on our own a lot more often these days, now that I think about it.
Why are the wings...
Ain't so hard to do, man.
Why are the wings in the other associations so passive about it? Monsters are actually appearing.
Because none of them were noteworthy enough to even be an urban plague. Well, the pianist being the sole exception.
Still, shouldn't someone do something about this?
It's like a ticking time bomb.
I bet a lot more people die in the syndicates than to the distortion.
By the way, you're not actually going to cut my salary, are you? That stupid chef's food was really the cause.
Try using that good memory for something better.
I can hear you.
Next chapter.
Next chapter, chapter 3. And I can read the... I could give away stuff. Okay, chapter 3, chapter 3, that's photographer. Photographer. I mean tomato, right? Yeah. Get water here. I'll try to at least get an hour 30. Anything more than that is just, anything more than that will be, if I can push more. A detective office for unsolved cases, located in a 3-story building somewhere in the streets of District 14. It's a mystery how people manage to find their way to my humble office. There's rumors of a haunted alleyway. People who pass it. There's rumors of a haunted alleyway. People who pass by it disappear.
How do they disappear exactly?
Ezra asked curiously. No one knows who disappeared or how. All we know is that someone disappeared somehow.
Then it's either a memory manipulator or a reality warper.
No, never mind. Then it's either a memory manipulator or a reality warper.
But detective, I thought reality warpers only existed in your series.
This might as well be our opportunity to see one for the first time. Oh wait, oh, I get it now. Let's try this again. A detective office for unsolved cases located in a 3-story building somewhere in the streets of District 14. It's a mystery how people manage to find their way to my humble office.
There's rumors of a haunted alleyway. People who pass by disappear. How do they disappear exactly?
No one knows who disappeared or how. All we know is that someone disappeared somehow. Then it's either a memory manipulator or a reality warper.
But detective, I thought reality warpers only existed in your series.
This might as well be our opportunity to see one for the first time. What's this all about?
It's just our jargon. Where did they go missing, by the way?
Ezra changed the topic before the client could ask further. Oh. Client. There's a client in here. Man, they just started. Which one's the client? Wait, this has to be the client. Okay. Oh, okay, I get it. I know what happened here, okay.
There's rumors of a haunted alleyway. People who pass by disappear. How do they disappear exactly?
Ezra asked curiously.
No one knows who disappeared or how. All we know is that someone disappeared somehow.
Then it's either a memory manipulator or a reality warper.
But detective, I thought reality warpers only existed in your series.
This might as well be our opportunity to see one for the first time.
What's this all about? It's just our jargon. Where did they go missing, by the way?
Ezra changed the topic before the client could ask further.
It's somewhere around the plaza of Cherished Hopes. That's not too far from here. How did you know that people went missing? Used vehicles and objects were found abandoned in the street, like bicycles and cars, and most of all, the furniture in my attic was sorted as if someone had been living there until today. That means one of your family members has disappeared. Huh? But there's only 3 people in my family, and they're all fine. Me, my husband, and my child.
We'll see if we investigate.
What if there really was another family member?
No.
What if there really was another family member, what if there really was another family member I've forgotten, like you said? And if they're dead?
Albert should be killed.
That's rather stern. That's rather stern. Well then, we should start discussing the request fee.
And I really wish they had like something indicated, because like, some of them were like, okay, it could be either or, man. Oh, whatever. Ezra's eyes sparkled as she spoke. I left the financial management of her office to her. She has enough wits to figure out how serious or tough a request will be.
So I can trust her to lead negotiations like this. I headed out to the terrace while Ezra and the client were busy bargaining. I smoked from my pipe, feeling the acrid breeze of the back streets. Still, this air is much clearer compared to the messy atmosphere during the smoke war. Distorted creatures walk the streets as always, wondering how long I'll be doing this. I puffed tobacco smoke.
Detective, I'm done writing the contract. The client went back to her home.
Plaza of the Cherished Hopes, was it? Get ready.
Yes, Chief. Do I bring the usual gadgets?
Ezra asked as she stuffed equipment into her dimensional bag. Sure. I walked along the street with Ezra. The time is 2 p.m.
Ta-da! Here we are at the Plaza of Cherished Hopes. What do we do now? Wait till the night falls?
This case appears to be a location-type distortion. Judging from the client's description, a powerful distortion can affect its surroundings as well, assimilating nearby objects into it. We should look for any distorted buildings.
We don't think you can see those weird buildings, Detective. What can I do?
See if there's abandoned bikes around here. Maybe. Windows of size, apartments floating in the air. Doors with teeth, rooms filled with water. There are a lot more distorted buildings than it seems. It could be quite a sight if they manifest all at once. Now, which building to investigate first? I don't have any specific criteria set in mind. Some deduction and intuition are all it usually takes to figure it out. This one is a case of the distortion that devours people whole. Victims are soon forgotten by others. Why were they attracted to that distortion? I need the profiles of the missing people, but if no one knows who disappeared, it'll be difficult to figure out their common traits. Ezra, look for a place around here that provides goods or services for free.
What? For free? Does that kind of place even exist?
Or preferably a place where people don't have a job would go. And that is why it's easier to figure it out. The distortions of the city are actually rather simple to understand.
Ah, there it is. A place called Loomer Soup Kitchen.
Is it sponsored by anyone?
Nope. It seems to be run by an individual.
Lead me there. People who are destined to be forgotten in the city will naturally be attracted to free meals.
Isn't this a photo?
Isn't this a photo studio?
What? It looks like a worn out tent, though.
It's a distortion.
Does that really look like a photo studio to you, Detective?
An age studio. So this is a soup kitchen, right?
Yep. The description says they give away free meals to children or the elderly who are too poor to afford anything else.
Do we use the ferry? Do we use the ferry to enter?
Huh? Don't you know how expensive it is to recharge the ferry? It's just an ordinary tent camp. All we gotta do is walk in.
I ask because I'm seeing a door sealed with a lock. I don't like how you talk back. I'll be cutting off your salary.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Aren't you having too much fun with that? It shakes my heart even if it's a joke. Say, should we wait till night?
We can interfere with a distortion that manifested this much already.
What are we waiting for then?
Hold on. You shouldn't just barge into a closed-off section of someone else's mind. I walked up to the door and gently knocked on it. Soon enough, the door was unlocked. Let's get inside.
What did you just do? The entrance opened up on its own.
I simply showed courtesy. You told me not to use the ferry or anything, so all I could do was knock on the locked door. A photo studio set up inside a wooden building. The whole building exudes the smell of hardwood, and large frames fill up the walls.
Wow, it's much bigger on the inside. Now I see why you said it looks like a photo studio, Detective.
I guess it's visible to you now.
Could those photos on the wall be the missing people?
Perhaps. Each frame held a picture of corpses, various photographs of dead people. One common feature that they all died indoors. I see a whole bunch of heads in this one. Huh. The room is breathing. I can feel its respiration, its beat. No one knows how many people this room has devoured. A dying elderly person stands before me, a lonelier person whose breath is fainter than the room's. Forgotten by others, this aged person has brought and taken in people. As the doddering one faded from everyone's memories, so too did the people they took in. Not a single person knows them. They were here, dying all alone. This place is a memorial. A person whose head... No.
This is a place of memorial. This is a place of memorial.
A person whose head turned into a camera greeted us from behind. The four lenses on their head rotated disorderly, fixing their gaze onto me.
Yikes.
Surprised, Ezra fell on the floor.
I remember each person in their photograph. I take pictures of them and frame them. Who are you? I'm a photographer. I believe I should be the one asking who you two are, in fact. This is Moses, a distortion detective, and I'm the talented sidekick, Ezra.
She speaks with confidence, revealing our identity so shamelessly. We are fixers, and we actually got a request about recent cases of disappearance.
So they do realize that some people have gone missing. What's the point of it all, though? They were already treated like invisible people even before they disappeared.
Did you... No.
Did you lure them here with free meals to kill them?
Ezra questions the person while looking at them with suspicion.
No, I didn't. I'm simply remembering the people who are bound to be forgotten. Like Mrs. Agnes over there. I take pictures of them so that they can be memorialized in this room.
The old person standing before us must be Agnes. She's staring at the pictures hanging on the wall and letting out heavy breaths.
There are so many people who die. No. There are so many people who die alone. I realized that as I worked, so I want to remember them. What work? Kidnapping people?
No.
No, not at all. My work was accompanied by an awful stench. When its neighbors report the smell, I go and retrieve the body.
So you were a mortician who usually dealt with people that died lonely deaths.
Yes, my work was to look for such bodies in the streets of District 14 and direct funerals for them. As part of the welfare plans of Encorp's Nest, I've arranged funerals for 253 people. Not a single mourner showed up at all. And not a single mourner showed up at all of them. I decided to take one last photograph of the dead before I retrieved their bodies, so that I could at least remember them.
So you weren't running this soup kitchen from the beginning.
I got fired, and Corpse Nest said they don't need a useless undertaker like me. Funerals are for the living, after all. I'd meet the same fate, since I don't have anyone to remember me for a life to be meaningful. The memories have to be passed on somehow. So we've decided to remember each other, remember that we existed and lived in this city.
You're distorted. What you've been doing is kidnapping people, coming to your tent for free meals, nothing more. You aren't one to decide whether they'll die alone or not.
But it's so obvious. It's so apparent that they'll all die in their own rooms, abandoned and forgotten by all. We'll remember each other, and we'll be forgotten in peace. We have the right to not be neglected by everyone so ruthlessly.
And rob the people who still do remember them of their memories. You just kidnapped people who were in the same shoes as you. Because you yourself were afraid of being forgotten. You take away their chances to be remembered. The lenses on their heads started rotating all of a sudden. I dodged to the side as I heard the sound of something starting to run. Snap. I fell on my knees and faltered on the floor. My whole body feels numb. A sharp pain strikes my head.
Detective!
Stay away from the lens. Don't let it take a full picture of you. The sounds of the lens rotating and the film began. The sounds of the lens rotating and the film being reloaded can be heard. When it takes a photo of someone, it draws out something from that person. I feel a acute twinge. I feel an acute twinge all over my body, as if numerous spikes were stabbing me. I remember a few that inflicted this kind of pain. Ezra, I'm putting up a smoke screen.
Yes, Chief.
I took out the smoke pipe from my pipe from my coat and blew it out as hard as possible. Shh. The smoke covers the whole room. We snap, we snap, we snap. The camera flash goes off in random directions with each snap.
Detective, what are we gonna do now?
The type that shouldn't be allowed to see. I mustn't let it contain us in its sight. What's in your bag today?
It's the usual. Stigma workshop sword, Alas workshop gloves, Corey glove, Nestor hammer, and...
Throw the Corey gloves at me.
Got it.
Only Ezra can see me through this thick smoke. A pair of sky blue gloves flew across the room, and I snatched them right away. I put on the gloves and slammed the wall with my hand. The wall begins to freeze over. Snap, snap. I took a deep breath in through my pipe. The smoke that had filled the room is sucked back into the pipe. A shiny wall of ice reveals itself. Snap. The lens flashed to get a picture of its own reflection on the icy wall. Crack. The photograph first fell down, cracks showing up on its head. The photographer fell down, cracks showing up on his head and lenses. You made others be forgotten because you didn't want to sink into oblivion alone.
Perhaps. Maybe I was the only one who had completely lost their chance to be remembered, after all.
How many people have you locked in here?
57.
Can you recover them?
Yes, I can.
Then your life is spared at least. Bring them back now.
But who will be there to remember me now?
We will.
Thank you.
The photographer's head returned to normal, only a single eye retaining the shape of a lens. The studio regressed to a tent now full of people. The distortion was solved.
We found the missing family member. He's the one, right?
The client doesn't look too happy. Oh wait, no. We found the missing family member. He's the one, right? The client doesn't look too happy.
Oh, yeah, the father's back. No wonder I forgot. Well then, shall we transact the remainder?
Ezra counted the money with a smile, while the client and her father headed back looking depressed. No one would welcome the outcome of this request. They'd much have preferred to just forget about the people who eventually made it back. They'd murmur to themselves about how they wished those people to disappear forever. I heard later that 58 people worth of smoke quietly billowed out of crematoriums in the back streets of Vancorp's Nest one day, and I seem to remember. Oh man, Cameron D's dead as well, hey. Oh man. Well, whatever. 6th chapter, chapter 4, an unwelcome guest. Get more water here, aye. We're definitely doing a lot more reading than usual. Well, then again, not like we're surprised about it after all. After all, we basically are reading a book.
Greetings, Dr. Moses. It's been a while.
An unwelcome guest visited me, an associate fixer in Section 2 of the 7th Southern Branch, and my former assistant, Hee-Jun. Hee-Jun. Their eyes are just as arrogant as I remember. Must feel good to be playing in the big leagues way above me, doesn't it?
Oh no, not at all. Oh no, not at all. Hello, Hee-Jun-senpai.
Ezra, you tactless dork. I hope you realize how much they're looking down on us by now.
What are you doing?
Never mind. What are you doing here? Heading north all the way up here from the south part of the city. It must be a complete mess down there with Elcorp collapsing.
You're sharp as always, Doctor. I'm actually here because of that.
What? Look, I'm just too old to get myself involved with the wings.
That distortion, you can still see it, right?
I would have closed this office otherwise.
I wonder how I appear to you then.
Not be prick, always asking questions I'm not comfortable with.
Well,
your mouth is sewn up, it seems. Perhaps because it's actually going to be zipped up soon enough. I actually can't see their face at all, other than their eyes floating in the air.
Aha, you haven't changed at all. Don't you need some funds?
Do I look like I'm in a financial crisis?
Then why else would you be doing work as silly as the distortion detective? I see. It's because you still can't forget about what you did back then. You still regret that, don't you?
That's enough, shut up, Hee-Jun-senpai. As I grabbed Han Hee-Jun by the collar, the uncanny smile in their eyes still wouldn't go away. Let them speak on. Ezra and I were the only ones to survive your rampage that day. You were essentially... Oh. Right one.
Ezra and I were the only ones to survive your rampage that day. You are essentially responsible for our lives, Doctor.
What do you want me to do? Bite my tongue and die?
I can't have you die on us so easily. No. You still owe us so much debt.
Get to the point, why did you come all the way here from the south?
I want you to head down there for a while. The Southern Branch is dealing with troubling incidents and... I want you to head down there for a while. The Southern Branch is dealing with troubling incidents that are suspected to be cases of the distortion. We need your ability, Doctor. Now please stop with your shabby attempts to solve your cases. What we want is a distortion manifesting in its whole. Don't try to restore them. Just leave them being told they fully distort.
Oh, what? It's a 7 into human experiments now.
I suppose you could put it that way. I have reserved 2 warp tickets departing from Endcorp's Nest in 2 months. You'll take the train and visit our associate office once that time comes.
Don't go, that's a bad idea. Don't go through there, don't go in, don't go, no. If people know, if you know W Corp, nah, you're basically stuck in W Corp, so there for like, eternity. You're stuck in there for eternity, it's bad. Cells in the... What if it's down the right pipe? Okay, the cells into the viewer just... Give me a second here. This thing sticking there, sticking the warp train for thousands of years. Is it the request directly assigned from the 7 Association?
Yes. It's an Urban Nightmare class. You've reached denied, of course. You don't care too much about belongings to associations after all, but you might be able to meet a certain person at the end of this request.
Leave the tickets here and sawed off.
I look forward to seeing you again, Doctor.
John left, once again smirking with her eyes. Ezra, throw some salt out the door or something.
We don't have any salt in the office, so should I go buy some? You know what? I gotta buy some.
I knew this day would come. The office feels like a devastated war zone after that snow went swept by. I keep smoking until the evening, fighting the memories of my past.
Ezra.
Ezra, give me a map of the city.
Yes, Chief. But we don't have an officially printed map here. One sec, please. I'll start drawing one up.
She's passionate in weird ways, and that's what makes her fit to be my assistant.
Here, it's done. I made it using Picture Store.
You call this a map?
But it works.
Yeah, it works enough. We live in District 14, which belongs to Endcorp's Nest. Taking a warp train is the only feasible way to get to District 11 in K-Corp's Nest. I frankly want nothing to do with the white tie fixes in the south, but at the end of the day, I have no choice but to go. All because I committed an irreversible misdeed. 2 months later, huh?
Hadrian Zombie said that this was related to L-Corp. Then why aren't we just going straight to District 12 where L-Corp used to be?
I heard L-Corp's Nest has already fallen into absolute anarchy. They probably told us to stay in a safe place that's relatively close to it. The warp platform in L-Corp's Nest have likely stopped operating anyways.
Detective, are you really going to drop solving distortions once we get there? Are we just going to kill them?
That's not up to me to decide. It'll depend on the severity of the distortion. Aye.
But what if we ran into a distortion that could be reversed if we tried?
We can think about that later. There's still time. So let's do our work as usual for now.
Got it. I'll fetch our next request.
Nope. Okay, next chapter. 15 minutes in. Chapter 5, Mock Exam. The exam has begun. I'm telling you there's 20 chapters right there in 4 streams as I say. Don't know. Probably more. It's been a week or less. It's been a week since Han Hee-jun stirred up a storm in my head. There's no point in being It's been a week since Han Hee-jun stirred up a storm in my head. There's no point in being ambivalent about going there. I know that I have no other option. What am I agonizing for then?
Detective, this request is about a high school.
Ezra spoke in a cheery tone as usual. A school. Was it requested by its faculty or the principal?
No. This student here is our client. Hello. My name is Meryl.
The girl shyly standing behind Ezra introduced herself. One of her legs is composed of numbers. What's your school? I'm not sure if a student from the back streets even has enough money to make a request to her office.
Detective, actually, she's a client. I mean, a student from a private high school inside Encorp's Nest.
A student from a private school in the nest. The allowance these kids regularly get from their parents should be more than enough to pay us. I'm willing to play with those rich kids in their little detective game, as long as the request fee is paid. So, what problem does our young client want us to solve?
Actually, something strange has happened in our school. An important exam is ahead of us, and everyone's on edge preparing for college admissions.
High school students in the nest should aim for universities in the nest as a matter of course. The college scholastic ability test, held in most nests every year. This one exam determined a myriad of things. Getting low scores and going to a college in the back streets won't do you any good. Entering any college in the nest is pretty much the baseline requirement for joining a wing. So the strange events happening in the school must be disturbing your studies, and you want us to resolve it.
It's not just about my grades. My friends got weird. The whole school is weird. Students and the teachers too.
We need you to let us know what kind of strange occurrences are taking place before we can be of any help.
They won't go back home at all. The classes won't end.
All of the students?
Yes, all of them.
What about you?
Only I could escape. I was in the classroom when I came to my senses. It was past midnight. The teacher was watching us from the front of the class, and all my friends were absorbed in study, solving problems and workbooks.
Aren't parents worried about their children not coming back home? Never mind.
Aren't parents worried about their children not coming back home?
Ezra asked, confused by the apparent strangeness. It's soon enough. Our school's average scores for the mock exam. It's soon enough. Our school's average scores for the mock test made the top 10 in our nest. The parents must have been okay with however the school treated their kids as long as the grades were improving. How long has this anomaly been going on?
The last thing I remember before I lost myself was 2 months ago. It was the day when the school announced that they were making a scholarship class. They said students with the highest grades could be selected.
That's distortion that lasted for 2 months. We should go there and see what's going on ourselves, Ezra. We're heading into the nest.
Yes, Chief. I'll get the fixer license and the association certificate.
I don't really feel like staying in Ancorp's Nest any longer than necessary. A place full of buildings painted in pure white. I'd end up going crazy in no time if I lived there. I mean, we did kind of see what it looked like, if you remember, from, whose quest was it? But it was Sinclair's quest, I believe, or Sinclair's chapter. Yeah, I believe it's Sinclair's chapter. Whatever. The squarish 5-story building is also in white. Through the white gate is a white schoolyard. The school is dead silent. Then something foreign catches my eye. I remember floating on the rooftop of the school 5. Meryl,
what is that number on top of the school building? That shows how many days are left until this year's final mock exam.
it's painted in the menacing blood red.
But Detective, the number...
But
Detective, the number's white, just like the rest of the school though.
it's a distortion. Red liquid drips from the number sign. Are there any procedures for us outsiders to take before entering?
There are, but I don't think anyone cares right now.
When we enter the school building, a noise can be heard. Scritch, scratch. The noise grows louder and more frequent. Scritch, scratch, scribble, scribble, scritch, scratch, scribble, scribble. Saying all that. It hurts my head. What is this grating noise?
It's the sound of students in each class solving problems on worksheets. They press the pencils against paper so hard when they write.
I look through the windows of a class designated 1-7. 40 students had their heads fixed into above their desk, only their heads moving briskly.
What do those students look like to you, Detective?
Amalgamations of numbers in school uniforms.
Yeesh, that means the distortion has progressed by a lot, right?
They're pretty much distorted already.
What do you mean by distorted?
That means the strange events you described are happening in real life. Something showed up from the end of the corridor. It was a moving wall, big enough to blockade the corridor completely. Warning, warning.
Fine. Warning, warning. Students who do not study will face disciplinary Warning, warning. Students who do not study will face disciplinary action. Detective, it's a distortion. I can see it too.
A formula is written on the wall. A distortion made of math problems. This world is never short of oddities, isn't it? This one seems to be a calculus problem.
Ezra, can you solve that problem for us?
No. Ezra, can you solve that problem for us?
No. No. No.
Why did I even bother asking? Accounting is the only kind of calculation she's good at. How about you, Merle?
Well, I'm more of a humanities major.
Yannis is a dead end. We have to break through anyhow. All we have to do is solve that math problem on the wall, but no one is up to it. Guess it's up to me now. I took out my ballpoint pen and wrote down an answer on the approaching wall. Wrong answer.
Wrong answer. You want to attend supplementary lessons now.
Knew it. The wall pressed against us, so this is how it ends. I should get someone smarter to be my assistant next time. My consciousness fades. When I woke up, I found myself sitting at a desk in the classroom, wearing the school's uniform. Students around me are still busy solving problems on the worksheets. How much time has passed? A red number 30 floats at the center of the class. Last time I saw read 5. Does that mean we traveled back to the past? Could this be a case of the distortion that can reverse a flow of time? A sudden burst of force pressed my head from behind. Hey, Sinclair. This is the same universe as Limbus Company? Yes, it is. Actually, one of the characters here appear in Limbus Company. Actually. Ezra, the one who's talking now. This one. They actually appear in Nimbus Company. If you've done the chapter. If you've if you finished the Blight Lineage chapter. Yep. I mean, that's why I gave it that category, because I mean... Because technically it's in the Limbus Company world. And it has to be going on the same time as Limbus. Or it has to be probably going on the same time with Library of Ruina and Nimbus Company together. There's characters in it, so yeah. I just, you know, thought this was probably the best category for it to be in, you know. Anyways, a sudden burst of force pressed my head from behind. My face was slammed right onto the desk. Solve the problems. An oppressive voice ordered me. I skimmed through the worksheet on my desk. Blending 3 humans in a mixture generates 10 units of... Blending 3 humans in a mixture generates 10 units of energy. Given these conditions, what is the optimal solution to this? Remember, 2 humans to generate 15 units of energy. Wait, if 3 humans in a mixture generates 10, how you can't generate 15, huh? Well, whatever, sure. Oh man. Shiel-Su wants to be an artist. The wing Shiel-Su has to go to does not need any artist. Given these conditions, how many dreams should she also kill? There's a cube composed of minuscule humans. The cube factory must meet a certain quota each day. An eyeball can be squeezed for a hexagon. One O is the outer center of the left eye. How many red eyes are needed to make a cube with side lengths that are 4 meters long? Sure. A distorted school giving out distorted problems. They must constantly print out meaningless problems that'll be solved without any significance.
Boo-hoo, Detective, I have no idea what any of these problems say.
Ezra's seat was right next to mine. She's looking at me, her face on the verge of tears. I barely lift my head and look at the number 7, and look at the number again, 17. So that was in minutes, not days. Ezra, the character right there. Remember Sinclair when you got the radio? That's who we're talking to on the radio. Ezra. Let's wait until the exam starts. Just write down random things on the worksheet for now.
Got it.
A voice could be heard again. You have 10 minutes until the mock exam starts. You must strive to solve as many problems as possible. This is all for the sake of your future. The problems you solve now will be your weapons later in life. The number reach 0. Ding dong, ding dong. Commencing the mock exam. With that announcement, the school crumbled. All that remained were the students on a white plain. Then a tall staircase rose from the middle of the field. A trophy was placed on top of it. The exam has begun.
Detective, is this a distortion too?
I can't believe this. It seems it's time to update my information on the distortion phenomenon.
Keep it together, detective. We gotta run for now.
It appears that a massive world of its own can be created when the interests and desires of a large group of people coincide. This is my first time seeing a distortion occur at this scale. Mass distortion. This entire school is distorted. No. It's not the school building itself. Every student in it is distorted. All the students run toward the staircase trying to climb up it. Some trying to nail down the students ahead of time, while others push away the students behind them. The numbers add and subtract each other. They multiply and divide by each other. Decimal points pour out of their bodies. This is a war zone for a very vicious battle. A war where everyone recognizes each other as numbers. No other words are needed. In this scene of numerical violence, they must add to themselves and divide others. The problems they've solved so far becomes weapons to kill each other. When a student assaults another with numbers, the numbers on the victim's head fall off. The number students won't attack us. Perhaps the lonely numbers sitting at the bottom of the staircase, like us, aren't worth their attention.
Hey, Fixes, I'm up here.
It's Meryl. Her distortion progressed much more in the short span of time we were separated from her. She was already halfway to the top of the stairs.
Meryl, you should come back down here.
Ezra yelled. Meryl, there's no reason to climb those stairs. This is a war, a gamble. Fighting against each other with knowledge and grace on the line. If you don't climb the stairs, you'll be safe from it.
No, I'll stay here. We all agreed on this to decide who gets to advance to the scholarship class.
Meryl replied, killing other students. You're taking part in this massacre.
I'm already halfway there, though. I can't go farther. I can go farther.
A 7 struck Meryl's head out of nowhere. The numbers in Meryl's head scattered about as she fell to the floor. Thud, thud, thud. I could hear the sounds of numerous students hitting the floor. The noises of students killing each other. Ezra has turned away from the sight. Looking at the floor, I silently continued to watch the staircase. A student with a giant number 4 ahead reached the top of the stairs at last. The exam is over. Knowledge and grades will be redistributed to students based on how high they are on the staircase. The top 20% will be designated as a scholarship class and receive the honor of representing our school. With a flash, the school returned to normal. The students were all in their seats as if nothing had happened. I can see Meryl among them.
Meryl, are you alright?
Ezra ran toward Meryl to check on her. Meryl gave us a blank stare, muttering meaningless words. She's had everything taken from her. This is absurd. It was a consequence of Meryl's own choice. There's no need for you to feel guilty about it. Let's just sit back. We couldn't solve this distortion. We can't expect to solve every problem in the world. I took out my pipe from its inner coat.
Why are distorted people all so irrational? They're all too extreme.
They distort because their minds are driven into a corner. That impatience leads to leaps in their logic. 40% of the school's graduates are said to be living in seclusion, having failed to enter any college. However, the scholarship class demonstrated an unprecedented amount of successful admissions to prestigious universities, bringing the school fame and many more inquiries for entrance. The students who have successfully climbed up the stairs, killing each other, will grow to the feathers of the wings. Uttering those wings, the city soars. We failed. Oh, or they failed. What a shame, what a shame. Well, next chapter, eh? And I don't read this much usually. Aye. Definitely overkill for me. We have 1 month until we leave for District 11. I've accepted taking Han Hee-jun's offer to be an effective truce at this point. And I imagine it will be a long trip. We might never come back. We're shopping at the Workshop Boulevard today. That means we also get to go eat outside, right? We're not going there for... Oh, we're wrong. We might never come back, even.
We're shopping at the Workshop Boulevard today. That means we also get to eat outside, right?
We're not going there for leisure.
I know. Our purpose of visit is to request the workshop for the equipment and gadgets we need in our office.
Ezra spoke with excitement. This could be our very last chance to shop.
I know that too. We gotta leave in a month.
You can stay here if you want to.
I just can't let you eat all the treats down there by yourself, though.
The workshops in the boulevard treat various necessaries and supplies as well as equipment for fixers. Therefore, it's important to pick the right workshops according to your needs. Of course, workshops try to advertise themselves as well. Some become known through the word of mouth. Despite how complicated it can be to navigate the products at a workshop, I don't expend any effort toward looking for adequate workshop goods myself. My assistant Ezra here is a maniac for workshop products. She seems to have a peculiar tendency to prefer more expensive workshops, but she does a lot of research on various gears and gadgets. And the ones she purchases end up being quite reliable. She's pretty much stuffed her personal collection of gadgets in the dimensional bag by now.
Detective, the workshops I frequent are all sold out, or are out of request slots. I wonder what's up.
I don't know. Maybe the fingers are out, wreaking havoc on some place we haven't seen. So, have you failed to get any of the equipment you wanted?
Yepper, I have. We're not gonna get the gadgets in time if I request them. Yepper, I have. We're not gonna get the gadgets in time if I request for them any later.
Ezra mumbled. I walked on the streets believing that things will work out anyhow.
Detective, behind us.
Yes, a bunch of nuisances are after us. Could they be from a syndicate, maybe an office of fixers, or perhaps a wing? Whichever they may belong to, they're all essentially the same. They want to extract information from me. Well, they have a friendly chat with the fellows following us into the streets like this. We need to go deeper into the alleys. We slowly walk through the complex alleyways, intertwined like a maze. Steel doors are lined up on the walls, guarding residences that don't appear to be well maintained. The time is noon. The noise of pedestrians fades away, while the footsteps of our pursuers become louder. We've arrived at a dead end, an empty lot. This is our favorite spot for conversation, an obscure corner in the street with no witnesses, and even if a witness were to exist, they wouldn't be able to go anywhere from here. Now, what could you be wondering about, friends? So much as to follow us all the way here. I took out my pipe from its inner coat pocket and held it between my lips. That's a lot of people. I'm seeing around 30 of them. They're all wearing green suits. The distortion doesn't seem too bad. All of them are holding weapons like bats and knives. One in the green fedora walked up to us and started speaking.
Are you Moses, the fixer from Cookie Street?
Yes, I am. I answered with a smile.
We'd like to purchase that long smoking pipe you're carrying.
This was unexpected. Someone already has intel on my pipe. For how much?
For how much? For how much?
Ezra asked, with sparkling passion in her eyes.
100 million on. Nay, this thing's worth at least this thing's worth at least 500 million. There's no way we're negotiating for a price that low, right, Detective?
Ezra said in a rather disappointed tone. Not even 500 million on could buy it. This is essentially part of me, you see. I never fathomed the idea of selling it to anyone. Who told you about this pipe, by the way?
That's unfortunate. We were looking forward to a graceful trade.
The one in the fedora walked back and blended into the group. Ezra, can you handle them all on your own?
Yes, Chief.
Ezra yelled as she put her dimensional bag on the ground.
Street combat loadout.
In response to Ezra's command, Nestor hammer flew into her hand as she equipped with Owl's workshop gloves. The group of 30 people started charging at us all at once. Ezra blocks off the cramped passage to the empty lot by herself as she takes on the gang one by one. Allah's workshop gloves can accelerate the movement of her hands by 5 times the velocity. Activating the gloves, she swings her Nestor hammer, a small one-handed hammer suited for combat in confined spaces such as the alleyway we're in right now. The hammer is capable of delivering impact to a large area of the object its head comes into contact with. When the Nestor hammer hits one of Hoodlum in green with such accelerated force, it punches a wide hole through his chest. He violently swings her other hand to crush the jaw of another ruffian rushing at her. She breaks a bone and smashes the flesh of one mobster at a time. But not even her superior physique could Not even her superior physique could impede all of them from getting through the passage. Most of all, Ezra's not being serious in the first place.
Please take care of the ones I missed, Detective.
I'm cutting your salary.
What?
I did on a crimson red breast. The smoky pipe emitted a scarlet glow before assuming the shape of a sword. I grabbed his handle and prepared to talk. I positioned myself and stabbed the blade into the neck of a thug running at me. Without a get composure in every step, I punctured a red hole in the body of each gangster coming at me. The strong scent of blood soon filled the alleyway in the lot.
Detective, that fedora guy is trying to run away.
Ezra yelled at me, her body covered in blood. I breathed a violent breeze into my pipe. The pipe began flailing around as it elongated. It soon shifted into a web with purple thorns growing out of it. I lashed out my pipe to snatch the ankle of the person in fedora. They stumbled and fell flat on their face into a pool of blood. Ezra dragged the fallen mobster and dropped them in front of me. Tell me, who gave you the information about my pipe? I was trying to avoid using it too often so I wouldn't draw unnecessary attention.
I'm afraid I cannot say.
Ezra, go have some nice heart-to-heart talk with this fellow. Leaving the interrogation to Ezra, I smoked alone in the empty lot. Not so long after Ezra came back with the person whose face was now pretty mashed. Not so long after Ezra came back with the person whose face was now mashed pretty badly.
Detective, this one seems to have a lock on the brain or something. I can't get them to spill the beans no matter what I do.
I lifted the head of the monster and took a look at the back of their head. The tiny logo of J. Corbett's branded on it. Indeed, it's locked with a singularity. The client must have spent quite a bit of money. Still, there's a way as long as it's not more... Indeed, it's locked with a singularity. The client must have spent quite a bit of money. Still, there's a way as long as it's not the more expensive type. I exhaled a white puff through the pipe. The smoke coated around the monster's body. Now take a deep breath in. They began to tremble as they inhaled the smoke. You're not acting out of your will anymore. You're obeying my will. The lock will obstruct your thoughts no longer. They slowly begin to speak at last. Uriah Atelier wanted to study the mechanism of that pipe. Said it's okay for us to kill as long as we brought that thing.
Your Atelier wanted to study the mechanisms of that pipe. Said it's okay for us to kill as long as we bought that thing.
Ezra's eyes were wide open, shocked by what she just heard. Ezra, do you know anything about Uriah Atelier?
Of course, it's a premium workshop, only accessible to people with their membership. It's probably one of the top 10 workshops in District 14, I think.
The workshop maniac's eyes sparkled as she gave me the explanation. Then why couldn't we join that membership?
The conditions are a bit tricky. I don't think they'll accept us.
They want to study the mechanisms of my smoking pipe, huh? I'm interested in learning how this thing works as well. Do you think that workshop could provide us with the gear we need?
Yeah, you bet. They most certainly have the skills.
Ezra, lead me to this Uriah Atelier. Let's say hello to whoever tried to get a skill and take this thug with us just in case. Ah. Here we go, report Moses, Ezra. Oh, named. Okay, and mysterious in the solved cases, here we go. Name Moses, age 49, gender female. Affiliation, 7 association, grade 5 fixer. Height 156 centimeters, 5'1". Haha, short. Hobbies, closing her eyes and indulging in deep thought. Cleaning her smoking pipe. Specialties, concentration, quick wit. Birthday, November 30th. Likes tobacco, spending time calmly immersed in thought. Dislikes whiners, impatient people, noise. This is Ezra here. Ezra, age 28, gender female, affiliation, 7 association, grade 3 fixer, height 187. Heckin' massive, what the fudge. 6'2". Hobbies, collecting workshop weapons, snacking on cookies while the detective isn't looking. Specialties, request, fee negotiations, hectic brawling. Birthday, January 27th. Like expensive and powerful weapons, sweets such as sugary coffee and cake, small animals, houses, pom-poms, mustard sandwiches, just like waiting for Moses to finish thinking. It's understandable. Flowers, she's allergic to them. Hey, Sans, how you doing, man? How you doing? Hey, Lavender. How you doing, man? We're just reading,
Lot. a lot of reading here. Oh, I thought what is going on for reading. Someone wanted me to read. So I said sure, why not? If you know Project Moon or whatever, if you know Project Moon, Lobotomy Corp, Library of Runa, Limbus Company, this is a story set in that world. And they wanted me to read it, so I'm like, yeah, might as well. You're normal. Hi, normal. Nice to meet you. Ezra leads the way, carrying the fedora mobster on her shoulder. She seems excited to visit the esteemed workshop she's never gotten to enter before. The mobster with a smashed face tries to negotiate with us.
Hey, don't take me too, Yuria, please. She's gonna use me as a test subject, I'm sure of it.
Should be really careful for the well-being of a crook who tried to kill us.
Yeah, just kill me now. I'd rather die here than be brought back to that sick bastard.
All the more reason to take you to her then. I answered, smoking from my pipe.
Well, I used to just take a peek at this place when I walked by. Now we finally get to see what's inside.
Is this the place? Seems pretty small for a renowned shop. Ah, you're making a gaming video? Good for you, man. Good for you. A square building about 3 meters tall stood by itself at the center of the street. The small letters written on the workshop's door read, Yuria Atelier. Under that was a kind of instruction that read, please knock only if you're part of our membership.
I read in the catalog that Yuria Atelier is run by one person. I think that's why it's so small.
I assume it only produces goods in small quantities then.
That's not the case, actually. I heard the workshop values both quality and quantity.
That's rather suspicious, but before that, how did we get in here now? I could have Ezra break through a door of this size. But, as with most things in the city, you should never judge something by looks alone. The door could very well be armed with some foolhardy security device that melts whoever touches it without authorization. Hey Fedora, how do I get into this workshop?
You gotta have the membership.
Well, do you have it?
Syndicate took on the job so we could get it.
How did you meet Yuria then?
Detective, actually, Yuria Atelier chooses its own clients. The workshop sends membership invitations to potential patrons, but we haven't gotten anything yet.
What kind of stupid criteria makes this fedora wearing moron eligible, not us?
You tell me.
Fedora, go open that door.
What? No way. Who knows what kind of security system it might have?
How about this then? If you do as I say, I won't hand you over to Yuria.
You promised?
Sure. Fedora walks over to the door. They broke into a cold sweat, hesitating to touch the door. Before finally reaching out to the door handle, nothing happens yet. They turn the handle and slowly pull it. Creak. Door opens, revealing a staircase leading underground. It seems to go pretty deep. I knew the workshop couldn't be this small.
Well, Detective, I guess the real workshop is down there. Am I free now? Am I free now?
Take the lead.
Darn it.
You walk downstairs, tremors can be felt coming from below. My instincts tell me that this is no ordinary quiver. Something is approaching us quickly.
Detective, what's that?
Actually, what is that? A boar? A bear? A giant creature is running toward us.
It's a teddy bear, so cute.
Ezra gleefully spoke with a twinkle in her eyes. What it's about to do to us doesn't seem very cute. A giant teddy bear charged at us on all fours. Is that a part of this workshop security? Curious, or perhaps it's... Ezra, stop this thing.
Yes.
The teddy bear swung its paw at the fedora mobster in front of us, removing the upper half of their body. One clean swipe. Spicy fist mode.
Spicy fist mode.
Ezra equipped Namir workshop gauntlets on her hands. Ezra equipped Namir workshop gauntlets on both her hands. There we go. Shoom. The impact of Ezra clashing with the teddy bear sent a shockwave throughout the basement. Ezra's body is augmented through an expensive and unusual procedure. I must say, that teddy bear is impressive in its own right for enduring her sheer strength. Rah!
Rah!
With a shout, Ezra pushed the bear away and activated her gauntlets. The Corp Singularity is applied to Namir's workshop gauntlets. The weight of the sphere embedded in the center of the gauntlets can be freely controlled. Ezra raised the weight of her gauntlets and punched the rushing teddy bear in the head. Poof. With a loud noise, cotton stuffing burst into the air. Ezra's fist ripped a large hole in the teddy bear's head.
She continued to pummel the bear with both her hands, punching even more holes in the teddy bear's body. Cotton stuff is sliding. No. So hard not to get tongue-tied, man. Cotton stuffing exits the bear and fills the air with each hit, till the bear was torn beyond recognition.
I did a good job, right?
Ezra spoke triumphantly. You did indeed. The fact that the teddy bear had nothing but cotton inside of it still bothered me. Going further down, we arrived at a large corridor, and what awaited there caught us by surprise.
This
place is a real piece of work. No wonder we couldn't be invited to that membership.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this much.
This whole workshop is a distortion. Teddy bears of various sizes are moving diligently. This place is like an automated factory. Whoever is running this factory should be avoiding us if they know anything about the work we do. They're using the distortion to operate the workshop, so they obviously wouldn't want it to be solved.
They're still cute, though.
For you, maybe. At least you have the strength to fend off those teddy bears as they try to kill you. Walking past the industriously working teddy bears, we reach the end of the corridor. A big workbench is placed there. Other than its enormous size and the use of too many vibrant colors, it appears to be a regular workbench. And someone is standing before it, as if she were waiting for us the whole time. Hey, Mari, welcome back, man. Hope you're doing good. Hopefully, man, hopefully.
Oh my gosh, Yuria.
Ezra hopped up and down in excitement. She then took something out of her bag and approached Yuria with a loping stride. What is she trying to do?
Autograph this book here, please.
Ezra pleaded, bowing her head.
I've been collecting autographs of workshop meisters in this book, you see.
Yuria approached me, paying absolutely no attention to Ezra.
You must be Moses. I was eagerly waiting for you, and your pipe, too.
And one day. Yuria spoke in a youthful voice. A clear and bright voice. The gleam in her eyes was different from Ezra's.
There's plenty of workshop equipment that can change form, but that pipe of yours is fundamentally different. I'm sure you're aware of it. It even modifies one's physical makeup without any surgeries or procedures. When did you get that pipe? How did you learn to use it? I've been looking for such an object for so long. I know, right? Detective Smoky Pipe is so mysterious, right?
Ezra chimed in, quickly shoving her booklet back into the bag with her face turning red. How distracting. I never quite expected the talented Meister to be such an arrogant chatterbox. She is not the kind of person I want to be entangled with. You know the Red Mist, the legendary fixer? Wait, who was talking here? I can't tell. I think this is Almeria. Yeah, sure.
You know the Red Mist, the legendary fixer?
Yeah, I met her a couple of times.
The Red Mist fabled tales of heroics weren't born out of nothing. The weapons she used to brandish and the clothing she used to wear were actually the same sort of equipment as the smoking pipe you're using.
Yuria paused for a moment.
I'm sure you can feel it, too, maybe vaguely. That smoking pipe resonates with your emotions.
She's right. This pipe is nowhere as simple as the likes of a mechanical arm that moves according to command. It resonates with my feelings, as if the pipe is a part of me.
I've been running this workshop, not just to earn cash, but to gather information from the area around me. All the places I've been to before were busts, but look at this.
Yeah, a bit of water. I've been running. A video starts playing from the screen behind Yuria. It's footage of us fighting syndicate gangs in the empty lot earlier. Astonished, Ezra covered her mouth with her hands. Recorded footage. You had the audacity to break the taboo of District 14. Are young people these days all bold and brash like you? Yuria went on without a care for our reactions.
Behold, your graceful maneuvers and its elegant smoke. I'm about to fall in love. My expectations were right. Moses, here's the one I've been looking for. Scratch that and just tell me.
No, scratch that and just tell me. Do you know how my pipe works?
No, I don't. Not yet, anyways. Though I can try to study it now. Perhaps I could even improve it into something greater if we work together, of course.
She is a nuisance for sure, but I need to learn more. I must know more about this power given to me. So, how are you going to
So, how are you going to try studying it?
By looking into your mind, I'll need to know you. It takes time to get to know each other. How's this sound, Moses? Are you prepared to show me your heart? Detective, do you really trust her? I mean, she sounds so suspicious.
Ezra yelled in panic.
Moses, you're going to trust me no matter what. I know you can see it.
Right. What can I do for you then? Answer softly.
Detective! Detective!
Ezra was desperate to make me reconsider. Uriah slowly walked toward me and whispered into my ears.
I'll be your assistant. I want to watch you from up close. I'll make gear and equipment just for you. I want to be of help to you. Also, you can open your heart for me. Also, you can open your heart to me.
Uriah smiled. I put my hand on my forehead for a moment. This reminds me of some unpleasant memories of the past. I remember meeting someone just like her. I had no other option then. And I have no other option now. The lifeline that descends upon me when there's no way out. The rope I must hold on to. These are the only kind of opportunities that ever come to me. Ezra, we're going back to the office.
Yes, Chief.
With Uriel. Empty a storage room for her.
What?
Uriel followed right behind me. While it took Ezra a moment to get moving. The storage room in our office was remodeled into Uriel's personal space. She promised to make equipment for us under one condition, that we take her with us whenever we set off to solve cases.
Detective, it's so weird. Why aren't you solving her distortion? She broke the taboo of the district too.
Ezra complained as she stuffed ham, pan, mayonnaise flavored sandwich in her mouth. I'm simply making use of Uriel's strengths. And I have you to count on, so don't worry. I soothed Ezra. I imagine she's going to be sulky for a while. I, Moses, have no trust in other human beings. I do not trust the words of Uriel, a stranger. I simply trust my eyes. She is not distorted. I do not see any distortion from Uriel. So we'll do that one. Chapter 8. I think I'll probably try to go for chapter 10. Try to get chapter 10 because there's 20 chapters. Is there 20 chapters? Wait, now I gotta check. I can't know how many chapters there are in Distortion Detective, How many chapters in... 42. $42. $40 can do. Oh, fudge. Oh, okay. Maybe we try going to chapter 15. Because we get 15, 30, I'm gonna get 3 or whatever. Seems fine. Three people sat around the dining table for 2. It's early in the morning, and Ezra is already glaring at Uriah. She must be irked by this little intruder that popped into her ordinary life.
It's curious how you can stare at me for 30 minutes straight, all the while having breakfast. Wouldn't you agree, Detective?
Uriah smoked with a smile.
You small little thing.
Detective Moses.
Detective Moses, it looks like Ezra is mocking us for our height. That's not...
Noises, my head is ringing. The rice is well cooked, and yet I'm losing my appetite thanks to the noisy ruckus those two are causing. This has been going on for a week, and I'd have to deal with this every morning for the rest of my life. Quiet.
Owie.
They upped as I kicked them in the shin. Could you two keep it down while we're eating at the very least? Ezra and Uriah nodded. My appetite is finally restored in the fresh serenity. I place a quail egg boiled in soy sauce and warm rice and eat it. The food we bought from Ron side dish stall, a grocery store that recently opened up near our office, turned out to taste good. I should visit them more often. After finishing the meal, I headed out to the terrace to smoke, as for my daily routine. Ezra, do the dishes.
Yes, Chief.
Listening to the sound of Ezra washing the dishes, I puff out tobacco smoke and look below. Distorted creatures are heading to distorted workplaces as usual. This scenery of the street won't forever be the same. Miriam, is the gear all finished?
Sure thing. 11 pieces in total, right? Detective Moses?
11 pieces of equipment in just 1 week. That's quite impressive. Besides, the gear was commissioned by Ezra, not me. Likely, she must have asked for complex and elaborate gadgets despite her. The quality is yet to be demonstrated, but the production speed is certainly on the level of a Meister. Ezra, is that the correct amount? Ezra stops cleaning the dishes for a moment and nods while staring at the plate she's holding. It seems like the two won't even properly talk to each other anytime soon.
If you keep refusing to cooperate with each other, I'm cutting your salaries, you two.
I don't mind that though. I'm not working here for money after all.
Yuri responds nonchalantly.
I don't mind that either, Detective. You don't have to pay me at all this month.
I can't believe Ezra would go so far as to say that. These two make such a childish pair. I place my hand on my forehead. I won't care what the hell you do with each other, so just don't let your little feud disturb our work.
Yes. Got it. Got it.
We haven't had any noteworthy requests since we took in Uriel. They were all trivial matters where I didn't have to use my pipe, and most of them weren't even cases of the distortion at all. I expected Uriel to be disappointed by this uneventfulness, but she seems hardly bothered. I went downstairs with my pipe set on my mouth and rummaged through the request box. An envelope happened to be waiting for me. I tore it open and read the paper inside. This case smells like a big one. The three of us walked the street together.
Do you get requests from companies too?
Yuri asked. Companies in the back streets are our most frequent clients, in fact. They love to simply pass the burden of dealing with troublesome incidents onto the offices that specialize in solving them. I entered, holding my pipe between my teeth. Ezra was following us a few steps behind in silence. I suppose I should try to humor her today. We arrived at the company building. It's a rather large enterprise that occupies the entirety of a 10-story building. Perhaps it's a subcontractor of a wing. Ezra and I presented our fixer IDs as well as a letter of request to the lobby while Uriah showed her workshop union certificate. We received a visitor's pass, each and wore them around our necks. The security guard waiting at the elevator confirmed the passes and asked for destination, floor 8. Giving a brief answer, we took the elevator up to the floor written in the letter of request. When the elevator door opened on the 8th floor, someone greeted us. What am I gonna do here, huh? Now we have multiple people. Now we have 3 main characters, and they need to be different. If I want them. Fine. They're gonna be smoker one.
Fine. Hello dear fixers. I've been waiting for you. Here's my business card.
The card introduced them as Kang Jin Sil, section manager of Taeyang Produce Co.
I've requested 3 officers about this matter so far, but none of them could resolve it. If this problem isn't fixed in time, I'm gonna get fired, and all my subordinates will get sacked too.
Maybe this instead. I've requested 3 officers about this matter so far, but none of them could resolve it. If this problem isn't fixed in time, I'm gonna get fired, and all of my subordinates will get sacked too. That's gonna be easier to do in this route, much easier. You don't have to worry anymore. Detective Mo...
You don't have to worry anymore. Detective Moses over here will elegantly take care of the case for you.
Yuri intervened, while Ezra still remained quiet. Greetings, I am Moses from Moses' office. Handling mysteries and unsolved cases. May I ask who recommended our office to you?
Actually, you know what, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Here we go. The, MA office recommended you to us. They said Moses' office should be the perfect fit for this kind of case. At my office, the atmosphere where Karu is. The kid likes to complain, but they suddenly care for us quite a bit. Let's get right to the point. Where are the people suffering from the symptoms you described in the letter of request? Those employees are actually in the sleeping chamber on the 4th basement floor, not up here. The sleeping chamber? What is the sleeping chamber doing in a company? Wrong one.
A sleeping chamber. What is a sleeping chamber doing in a company?
Yuri asked curiously.
That means this is a corrupt company as it forces its employees to work overtime so often they don't get any time to go back home for sleep.
Ezra replied in a plain tone.
Oh my.
Well... well, it's not just us, you see. Most firms do the same these days. Manager Kang appeared rather perplexed by what Ezra said. Please lead the way, then. Of course, this way, please. We got back in the elevator. Manager Kang tagged the security key. We got back in the elevator. Manager Kang tagged their security key card on the elevator's control panel, revealing a set of buttons that lead to basement floors.
This company building goes as deep and has 15 floors underground. One could very well run into some hidden room at this depth.
What kind of produce company goes so deep underground?
Ezra asked. I'm afraid I can't answer that much in detail. You can just think of the underground space as a warehouse. Manager Kang answered as he pressed the button to the fourth basement floor. With a jingle, the elevator arrived at its destination. We were met with complete darkness when we stepped out.
Oh my, why is it so dark in here? Because it's where people sleep, duh.
Ezra answered Yuria's question again. Manager Kang groped along the wall looking for a light switch, and soon enough, orange light bulbs on the ceiling lit up, one row at a time. Flick, flick, flick. More people could be seen with each set of light bulbs lit. Numerous people were lying on the floor, arranged in an orderly manner. As you can see here, these employees won't wake up at all. Not waking from their dreams, huh?
What kind of dreams could they be having to make faces like this?
Ezra said, tilting her head to the side.
They seem to have escaped into their dreams. We should have a look at their recent work records.
Yuri spoke with a smile. Yeah, I thought so too. I said in agreement.
E.
Oh my god, E. Ezra groaned.
E.
Ezra groaned. Oh dear, and I was trying to appease Ezra for a while now. That's not all, actually. That's not all, actually. The fudge. Ausburo Maxok Ron Ravza Relo Vosa Den Crusol Away Tufu Klusk Vio Hor Ausburu that Maxok Dron Raxa Rilo Vasa Den De Crusol Tufu Klusk Vio Hor Aust Win Biro Maxok Dron Raxat Raxa Zat Rilo Vasa Den Crusol Tufu De Klusk Vio Hor Com Daust Oh Beru Malzak Will Dron Raza Rilo Basa Si Dankrasod His Tofu Klusk Vio Hor Light Aus Buru Maxo Dron Maxo Dron We Raxa Rilo Vasa Will Den Krasod Tufo Klusk Vio Hor Aus Buru Maxo Dron Raxa Rilo Vasa Den Krusa Tufo Fine Klusk Vio Hor House Buru Maxo Dron Raxa Rilo Vasa Den Salvation Crisald Tufo Klusk Vio Hor. Oh. Holy hicking, I'm not reading that again. I am reading that hicking again, screw that. All the people lying on the floor opened their eyes and began chanting unintelligible words in unison. The wide underground floor was soon filled with the voices of the many. Ezra freaked out. I think there was some sort of message hidden in what they just uttered. Yuria spoke with her eyes closed, focusing on the sound. The voices, once again, echoed throughout this floor. Manager, we'd like to check the work records for the past months. I turned around and spoke to Manager King, who I expected to be right behind us. King Jin Sil was instead still inside the elevator. Ka-chink! A steel gate then blocked entry to the elevator. Aha! My apologies, fixes, ha! I'm sure you people are capable enough to handle this right. The elevator doors began sliding. Tell me, what happened to Karu from my office? You'll be able to find out soon enough. I hope you can survive this hell. The elevator doors were closed completely. They got us good. The light bulbs on the ceiling flicker. Every time the light bulbs flicker, hundreds of eyes still lying on the floor, could be seen gazing at us. Blink. Oh, great. Take him trade.
Oh, Detective, I'm so hopeless with this kind of stuff.
Ezra took cover behind me, speaking in a faint, squeaky voice. She's
done helping, I suppose. Shall we start looking out for our next detective?
He still has the nerve to take jabs at Ezra in times like these. I must wonder if she ever gets tired of it. Do you have night vision goggles or something of the sort?
Ah, right. There's a few in my dimensional bag. I'm the one who crafted those glasses, though. Well, I found out the functions for them.
I'll commend you both, so hand me the darned glasses already. Ezra rummaged through her dimensional bag and took out 3 pairs of eyeglasses, handing a pair to each of us. The temples of the glasses are decorated with ribbons. Typical northern workshop fashion. Do they really have to adorn everything they make with such ornaments? Putting on the eyeglasses, I could gain a clear vision of the chamber, as if it were brightly lit by the sun. Even with the light bulbs on the ceiling blinking frantically. Even with the light bulbs on the ceiling blinking frantically, glasses automatically compensate for the rapid changes in brightness, allowing me to see things in a constant degree of brightness. Quite impressive. I would have had to rely on a lighter to barely see things right in front of us in the old days of just Ezra and I working together. It certainly is convenient to have a Meister working for our office.
Detective, what do we do if they all start jumping at us?
Ezra worriedly asks. I'm pondering on what to do as well. Looking around, I can count 108 employees here in total. They're all blinking at the same time, chanting the same words. What could this mean? For what purpose, perhaps? It seems as if the minds of these people are linked together.
Detective, over there.
Ezra pointed toward the mashed pile of flesh lying in a corner of the sleeping chamber. There were several of them around the chamber, in fact. I can see at least 8 of them, all created at different times. We approach the pile that appears to be the most recent. It's a dead body, as I suspected. A corpse that was crushed brutally. Something in this room smashed people. They were thrown with tremendous force. It's been at least 33 hours since the blood was split, judging from its state. This body seemed to have suffered heavy external damage. Eerie said
They were thrown with tremendous force. It's been at least 33 hours since his blood was split, judging from its state. This body seems to have suffered heavy external damage.
Yuria said as she observed the pile of flesh with a magnifying glance. Karu. Third belonged to Karu. That means our opponent has enough physical strength to pound a grade 4 fixer to a pulp. The rest of the lumps of flesh nearby are likely what became of the other fixers from Ame office. There is nothing in our sight that appears to be the culprit, however. The only other things in this space are 108 sleeping employees of a produce company still wearing their suits, and 3 of us.
Detective, how do those employees appear to your eyes?
Ezra asked. Well, obviously, they all have different distortions. No, something is different. The employees did have distortions of their own, but without any common trait to be found. Much like those I see in the streets, yet their distortions are beginning to disappear. The one whose face was missing regains their face. The one whose right arm was scorched has their arm restored. The ninja objects are being removed from another person. Their distortions are all gathering to a certain spot. I looked toward the point where all distortions were converging. Smoke billowed from what appeared to be an altar. Then the chant must be some kind of code and ritual to summon something. The smoke gradually condenses into a certain shape. Should we kill all the employees sleeping here? We don't even know what may manifest from that smoke. It's hard to judge something we know nothing about. I don't get a good feeling about this. It could turn out to be a favorable phenomenon. It could be an opportunity. At the same time, it's just as likely to be something that could kill us all. I cannot make any judgment on this phenomenon that I'm experiencing for the first time. Should I kill 108 people at my own discretion based on an uncertain possibility? Lives of Ezra and Yuri depend on my decision. My thoughts accelerate. Ezra and Yuri are saying something to me. Darn it, I know. I should come up with something. If I were to use my white breath, could I control more than 100 people at once? I've never tried something of that scale yet. However, I'll only end up ruining myself even in the worst case scenario. Yes, this is the most plausible option I have, having opened my eyes. The floor under each employee opened up, storing them in the space below. It was as if they were being used as batteries of the mind. It's too late. Only 3 of us remained in the 100 pyong space, until we noticed something standing before us. At least 3 meters in body size, 6 arms, massive muscles that looked like they could burst any moment, a skeleton head, blue flames spurting out from its gaping mouth, red eyes staring at me. The shape was complete. The creature assumed a bizarre pose. This is a completely hostile entity. Instinctual fear overwhelms us. Yuri grabs my sleeves tight. Ezra's eyes changed. Ezra, what we're about to face is something completely different from anything we've dealt with before.
Yes, Detective. Yes, Detective.
Ezra puts her dimensional bag on the floor. Yuri, observe me to your heart's content.
Of course I will.
I held my pipe between my lips. I closed my eyes and began breathing in. The distortion has the same scent as the pianist. A distortion dedicated to slaughtering people. One moment of carelessness means death. Yet I am beginning to feel excited. I suppose this old habit will die hard. While out of assault mode,
Auto assault mode, Mark 3.
Ezra's dimensional bag emitted an orange glue as she shouted. Ezra armed herself with exoskeletons of various shapes all over her body. Ezra's big, bulky body was made even bigger, her size now comparable to that beast we're facing. I noticed that the exoskeletons she's wearing don't exactly appear to be the ones I saw her use before. These must be Uria's work, though it seems that Ezra found the time to stipple them with stickers like she does with everything she owns.
Why did you plaster my gear with little stickers like that?
Yuri complained as expected.
If it looks like we're about to die, don't look back and just run. If it looks like we're about to die, don't look back and just run. I'm sure you can fix that elevator somehow. I'll earn you enough time.
Ezra spoke in a calm tone.
What are you talking about?
Yuri dropped her usual impudence. I placed my hand on my forehead. Stop jinxing us, you two. We're all making it back alive. With a thunderous kick against the floor, the giant leaped at me. The skeletal head came right in front of me in the blink of an eye. One of its arms winding up for a punch. A clean hit from that fist could turn me into pulp. I stood still and closed my eyes. Bang. Ezra cut in immediately and sent the skeleton giant flying as quickly as it had approached me.
I won't let you so much as lay a finger on the detective.
Whoosh. Rushing to the wall, the giant soon jumped down and threw its fist at Ezra. Ba-bang. Ezra held her arms high and deployed a powered shield to block its attack. My hair and coat fluttered from the blast of air created from its impact. The skeletal giant is purely... The skeletal giant is a purely physical being. I doubt psychological attacks will have any effect on it. I could try restricting its movement to assist Ezra, but even if I did, can she deliver the finishing blow to that monster? I doubt that either. Ezra, protect me with all your strength.
Yes, Chief.
Ezra responded loud and clear. I inhaled a crimson red breath.
Uria. Okay, Your style rotary drill.
Three drills emerged from the exoskeleton on Ezra's right arm.
Uria style rotary drill.
Three drills emerged from the exoskeleton on Ezra's right arm as she thrust at the skeleton's beast's body. They struggled to penetrate the giant's hard skin, throwing sparks in all directions. The giant uses two of its arms to grab Ezra's right arm and pushes her away, while charging up strength with the other four. Ezra continues to strike the giant's waist with her left arm. Boom. 4 straight punches land on Ezra at once. The sheer strength of the giant's 4 arms knocks Ezra across the chamber and into the wall. I inhaled a crimson red breath.
You tell me, use the axe.
Yuri yelled urgently.
Uria style axe.
Ezra pulled a long pole from her back, which turned into a 2-handed battle axe of enormous size.
I never thought this stupidly large axe would actually see use,
Uriel mumbled. I inhaled a crimson red breath. Ezra charged at the giant with the axe in her hand. And, at the same time, the Colossus lifts its right arm and lunges at her. Slice. 3 muscular arms of the giant flung into the air, cleaved by the axe.
It's an axe sharpened by my teddies in my workshop for 4 whole days. I bet it cuts better than hyper-oscillation blades, huh? It really does.
Ezra's eye sparkled with enthusiasm. I inhaled a crimson red breath. How much are you breathing in, lady? Holy crap.
Watch out.
Zoom shunk. The cleaved right arms morphed into sharp stakes and wedged into Ezra's flesh. Ezra swings her axe up, chopping off the arm stake still stuck in her body. Ezra then proceeded to kick the giant right away and swung her axe at the giant's body. This time, cling.
Ezra, the edge is all worn down now.
Ezra threw the frayed axe onto the ground. I inhaled a crimson red breath. Okay. Inhale, stop inhaling, man. How much do you have to inhale? Ezra and the giant engage in a brutal scuffle. The titan ruthlessly pummels Ezra with its 3 remaining arms and its legs, crushing her exoskeleton bit by bit. Blood gushes out from the stakes stuck in her body.
Detective Moses, please.
Yuri cried at me. I inhaled a crimson red breath. I did not stop inhaling. I closed my eyes and sink into my inner world. Every atrocious moment of the past throughout my life swirls around me. The memories of violence I never want to recall. Blood, scars, corpses, pain, more carnage. I concentrate all of that malice into a single point. Good work, Ezra. The smoking pipe became a scarlet, coarse cylinder in my hand. I aimed the cylindrical shape at the oversized skeleton. Crimson point. I stabbed the cylinder. Crimson point. I grabbed the cylinder. I stabbed the cylinder into the giant. The cylinder expanded by about 5 meters, erasing the creature's upper body. It bored a hole through the giant's body, a hole created from physical force. Yet the origin of that force was neither external nor eternal. What was once there simply vanished. My body was shaking, my eyes were bloodshot, and my mind was swarmed with destructive impulses. I must maintain reason. Heck. I coughed out a thick clot of blood. Then I felt a familiar embrace.
It's alright, Detective. It's alright, Detective. It's over now.
Ezra hugged me, her body soaked in blood. Yuri was next to me, sitting on the floor crying. And I could come back to myself. Yawed well. I stood back up and adjusted my coat. It's about time we figured out just what's going on with this It's about time we figured out just what's going on in this darned company. I put my pipe in my mouth. The Pyong is a Korean unit force. Explore space, sure. Huh. That's what Yuri looks like. No, I just drink some water. Nice, I like it. I actually like it. I wonder who drew the art for Project Moon. I'm curious, who drew the art for... Actually be Distortion Detective, right? I'm gonna be Distortion Detective. Let's see if I can find it, Genre, Mystery Detective. What the artist, man? More info. Actually, no, who did the art for Library of Prunak? It's the same. Who did the art for... Now I'm kind of curious, okay? And also, yes, I'm giving my voice a bit of a break, so, you know, I'm taking... Too much talking or else my voice is gonna absolutely die, because it's already dying. I don't know, man. I think I like the art style, you know? I think it looks pretty darn good. In my personal opinion. Boom. Oh, never mind that. Okay, yeah. You're age 21, gender female. Grade Meister, self-proclaimed. Height 172 centimeters and 5'7" feet. Hobbies, having tea parties with her teddy bears, is what she claims, though they essentially appear to be brainstorming sessions for weapon ideas. Specialties, crafting quality weapons at high speed. Birthday July 15th, like teddy bears, bitterbrewed coffee, collecting unique adhesive plasters, band-aids, just like that. Things that get in their way, cherry cupcakes, coffee with syrup or sugar. I'm so curious who did the art for Distortion Detective, but I can't exactly figure it out right now. I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna like... something else switch up later. It's probably somewhere right. Although, you know... Oh, whatever. Never mind. I don't want... Let's get back to it here. Sorry to sniffle. Yay, I need you. No, this guy. Age 37, male. 7, association, HQ section 2, grade 2 fixer, 167, 5'7". Haha. I wouldn't really say he has any, no hobbies, okay. Quick analytic prowess, level-headed judgment, July 20th birthday, Italian sweet coffee. It's about 3 sugar cubes, just like affairs that leave a mess, which needs to be dealt with afterwards. Clean up.
Wait, I want to know. Doesn't tell me. Oh, whatever. It's fine. Chapter 10, Blockade, an artificial distortion created by someone's design. You're young. You're more than capable of repairing this elevator, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Please get it fixed as quickly as possible. I'll be looking after Ezra for a bit.
No worries, Detective. I've been through this much a lot. Oh. No worries, Detective. I've been through this much a lot.
There have been few occasions that could harm Ezra this badly. Though injuries in general are not a huge concern for her, still, it wouldn't hurt to take extra caution, considering that it's the distortion we're dealing with this time. I came near Ezra, who's resting on the floor, and took out a first aid kit from her dimensional bag. Also going back, I'm assuming what happened. She used the red mist and she went kind of crazy and went on a murder spree, which is why she was bad. Anyways, oh. It's been a while since I bandaged. It's been a while since I bandaged your wound. It's been a while since I bandaged your wounds myself.
It really has.
The stakes embedded in Ezra's body fizzled into vapor when the skeleton beast fell. I wrap a fan or workshop pressure bandage on the open wound. Blood is still oozing out, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of infection or transmission. What was up with this distortion?
What was up with this distortion, Detective? These things keep getting tougher and tougher. Could it be the same type as the mock exam case?
Beats me. Alright, take care of the rest yourself. I stood up and approached the altar-like black box at the other end of the chamber. The distortions of this company employees were sucked into this box, which in turn created a white smoke that manifested into one giant distortion. That wasn't a mass distortion shared by many people like the one we saw in the mock exam case. An artificial distortion created by someone's design. Ezra, come and get this weird thing when you're done bandaging.
Got it, Chief.
Ezra picked up the bag and dusted herself off as she stood.
Detective Moses, the elevator is working. We can get to any floor we want now.
This company intentionally put its employees to sleep in this underground chamber, and hired fixers to fight against the man-made distortion. What are they planning to do with it? Develop it into a weapon? If they could manage to control the distortion through tactical methods, they'd shake up the balance of power for sure. But how exactly? How is it possible to quantitatively measure and manipulate the human mind through a device or two? The technology that could achieve such a feat would be nothing short of a singularity. It's not an advancement that some obscure company in the back streets can make on its own. Something is up with this company. Let's head to the 8th floor.
Understood. We're heading up.
Ezra hurriedly hopped up into the elevator. That strange box fortunately seems to fit into her dimensional bag somehow. Oh, zombie, are you... Okay, this,
Sanbei, are you feeling alright?
Silence ensued.
Ezra Sanbei. Me? I'm your Sanbei?
Ezra exclaimed, but surprised.
Since we're both assistants of Detective Moses and you're my senior here, I'm calling you Sanbei from here on out.
Uriah finally seems to have acknowledged Ezra.
Oh gosh, Detective, she must be distorted.
Let's save the friendly jokes for when we get back to our office. We're almost at the 8th floor now. Ding dong. We were met with a strong scent of blood when the elevator doors opened. This is the smell of fresh blood. The office was overgrown with green vines, bearing countless red fruits on the ceiling. My eyes traced along the stems of the vines. Starting from their tips on the ceiling, they led back to the agape mouths of this company's employees. None of them were alive. This is the same box we'd seen in the sleeping chambers was placed in the middle of this office. Yet another distortion.
Detective, does that mean there's more like the one we just fought?
Concerned, Ezra asked. I placed my hand on my forehead. We can't take this anymore. Both Ezra and I are at our limits. We'll be dead meat if we face another distortion at the level of the one we encountered just before. Ezra, Uriah, our objective from now on is to survive. Follow every order I have to give you. The two nodded in response. We will. A siren went off, followed by an announcement. Emergency lockdown. Emergency lockdown. Taeyong Produce Company is closing business as of now. Repeat. Taeyong Produce Company is closing business as of now. Your employees, as per the terms of the employment contract, you may not leave the company building. Repeat. Shaka shaka shaka.
Shutters came down on the office's windows one by one. Ezra, use as much force as possible to break the window right now.
Yes, Chief.
Ezra equipped both Namir Workshops and LS Workshops gauntlets on her hands and dashed into the window for a powerful strike. The massive weight of the punch sent tremors through the office, but it only left a dent on the shutter. That was no ordinary steel. We're completely trapped here. I took out my pipe and started smoking from it.
Detective Moses, the elevator is no longer functioning. The building's main system has entirely shut down.
Muria gave me bad news on top of this. Ka-chink, ka-chink, smash, ka-chink, ka-chink, smash. I heard something chattering. Did the window given to the impact? Of course not. I was a dunce and a fool to make such a hasty assumption. Ezra, get your Stigma blade ready. And Yuria, can you make a device that can start a fire currently?
None that I can craft at the moment, but I could try using something I prepared for your smoking pipe, Detective Moses.
Different objects hanging from the ceiling were not fruit of any kind. They were eggs. We were in a hatchery of some sort. The shock of Ezra's punch caused those eggs to hatch. Massive mosquitoes with the face of humans slowly crawled out from the cracked shells.
Detective, they're coming!
Ezra yelled urgently. Yuria, let's try what you suggested, whatever it is. Let's try what you suggested, whatever it is. I handed my pipe over to Yuria. Ezra held the blade and prepared herself for combat. The mosquitoes hovered in the air for a moment before charging at us. Ezra's fiery sword sliced through several mosquitoes, but it wasn't nearly enough to stop them all. The insects bit Ezra and started sucking the blood out of her body. Make it quick, Yuria.
It's done. Try imagining a fire in the same way as when you turned your pipe into the red sword.
She gave me back my pipe, now with a red ribbon tied around it. I let in a red breath. Bursts of flame rose from the pipe's bowl, which then took the form of birds. The burning birds flying to the giant pests feasting in Ezra's. She gave out the pipe now with the red ribbon tied around it. I let in a red breath. Bursts of flame rose from the pipe's bowl, which then took the form of birds. The burning birds flying to the giant pests feasting on Ezra and set them ablaze.
Thanks, Detective. Thanks, Detective.
Ezra's voice lacked energy. My body rapidly grows cold. It's as if my life's warmth is being drained away. I suppose everything must come at a price. Let's take the stairs over there. This door is unlocked, thankfully.
No, let's take the stairs over there. The door is unlocked, thankfully.
Yuria gave us good news this time. Flinging open the door to the stairwell, the birds of flame bought us enough time to make our way to the door.
Goodness.
Yuria quietly muttered. Bro, they were just gonna call it a 10. My voice really doesn't want to go much longer. Yuria quietly muttered as soon as she stepped into the stairwell. A stream of people flows along the staircase. It's quite literally a river of humans. They float down the stairwell, their limbs tangled up with each other.
Detective, is this the end for us?
Ezra barely managed to speak. Not today, I answered faintly. Do 10. Depending calling it or not here. I mean, we did 10, right? We did 10. It's gonna be 4 in total if we do it this way, though. Oh, the problem. Sunbay, yeah. Pure honorific used to address seniors or mentors, like senpai, gotcha. You're bringing doing one more or not, Fine, we'll flip a coin to decide. Hey Siri. Flip a coin. Tails, okay, well. Guess we're gonna call it here. Tomorrow's gonna be Valorant. Day after might be Ace Attorney. Then Valorant. And then this. And it's possibly. Don't know how it's gonna go. Well, anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. And peace out and have a good one. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.